Well, hello and welcome once again to the DCL podcast, where we're inviting you to sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly. Well, welcome back to the DCL podcast, your podcast to help you and your family cruise a little smarter. And I'd like to welcome to the show our co-host all the way from Michigan, enjoying the snow out there. How are you doing, Christy?
I am well. I never enjoy the snow, just for the record. Fortunately, we don't have any at the moment.
Even this time of year, you don't enjoy the snow?
No, not even a little bit. Not even the tiniest bit of enjoyment.
Well, we are going to turn our thoughts to the holidays. It's December. We're recording this December. I don't even know what date it is. December 5th? 6th? I don't know.
6th.
6th. And I'd like to welcome back to the show one of our good friends, Chris from California. How you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Not to be confused with co-host Chris from California. Different Chris.
Yeah.
Listener Chris from California.
Yeah. Well, they live in opposite ends of the state. Chris is up north and Chris Bright is way down south. So we'll distinguish it that way. So, well, welcome back to the show, Chris. I saw your pictures as you guys got back from your latest cruise, and it looked like just a wet mess.
Yes, it came back to California, and it was cold, rainy, and today's the first day it had sunshine since we've been back.
I was actually flying through that, and man, I miss California when it's nice. And it's like you think that like when you're going to fly to California, it's going to be easy, and then the next thing you know, like it's blowing sideways. You're going down to minimums and landings, and it's like this is not fun. This is not the California I know. So I kind of appreciate what you're saying.
We left Florida at 6 o'clock at night last Friday. It was 80 degrees. I had shorts and a T-shirt on. We landed at SFO at 9 o'clock at night, and it was 40 degrees. I was freezing.
All right, well, let's turn it to something a little bit more pleasant. Let's talk some Disney Cruise Line. And we're going to talk about two different cruises. And the reason I want to talk about the first one is you and your wife had an opportunity to go down and sail on the Wonder on a 2-day cruise. And we've never talked to anybody on a 2-day cruise. Christy and I have talked about 3-day cruises. And we're really curious to hear your thoughts on 2-day cruise. And before you jump into it, Christy, would you ever do a 2-day cruise?
Would I ever? Sure.
Have you? Well, you've done 2-day cruises,
I guess,
on Celebrity, right?
On Celebrity, but also I didn't pay for those cruises. So, but I would pay for a 2-day cruise if it fit into the schedule and I wanted to go away for a weekend and it was over a weekend. I don't know that I would go during the middle of a week on a 2-day cruise unless I was already in that location. I would do it if it worked out. Would I like go from Detroit to California to go on a 2-day cruise unless it was a preview cruise and somebody was giving it to me? No, sure wouldn't. But would I throw it in the middle of something else, and or if it was out of Florida and I was already going or something? Yeah, that's fine. I would do it. Would you? Well,
we've done the 3-day. The 3-day makes sense because it just fits into a long weekend. Like you said, we spent some time in San Diego, and then we went on it. So, Chris, what was your guys' thoughts on picking up the 2-day cruise out of San Diego on the Wonder?
So the only reason we did it, we were already going to be in Disneyland we had a room booked. We always go in October for the Halloween stuff, and the cruise kind of fell in line. It's like it's just another hour and a little bit past Disneyland, so let's give it a try. And it was a Halloween on the High Seas. My kids have never done that, so they wanted to do that. If I had to drive the full 6.5 hours just to do the 2-day cruise, I don't think I would do it. But since we were already in the area, we did it. But it's, you're getting on the ship. You have the first day goes by so quick. You do your lifeboat drill, all that stuff. And you're in the second day, and then that's your last day. So it's goes by really quick. It was, kind of like on a 3-day cruise, at least you have, one full day in the middle. But this was like, you have your day and you're getting off tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking about like you get the sail away party, you have dinner, and the next thing you know, you're like in the lobby if you want to go to the till we see you again parties. But you guys went to Ensenada. Well, I guess. How did it work out for you guys? What were your overall thoughts as far as doing a 2-day cruise? Did you enjoy it? What were some of the pluses and minuses of it?
I mean, we did have a good time. It went down to Ensenada. We didn't get off the ship that day because we just didn't have a whole lot of time on the ship, so we wanted to enjoy the ship. We had a good time. The kids it was fun seeing all the Halloween decorations and stuff. And that was the main reason for taking the trip. So we did have a good time, but it was just it just went by quick. I mean, by the time we got on the ship, it was probably 12:30 on Friday, and 8 o'clock Sunday morning, we're getting off. And for some reason in San Diego, it didn't clear customs until 8 o'clock, so we were kind of waiting to get off.
It usually seems like that's a pretty easy port. But so as far as the Halloween stuff, anything stand out for you guys that you enjoyed?
No, we just enjoyed all the decorations. I got the pumpkin tree in the atrium and all the other, the window clings and all the big portholes. We liked all that. And, the kids really enjoyed it. It's just kind of last chance for my daughter's going away to college next year. So trip in the middle of October is probably not going to work anymore. So it's kind of fun to do that.
And so you didn't do, though, the other activities?
We didn't do much of the activities. I mean, they had to pile everything in on top of each other, basically. The one day we had on the ship, me and my wife got a massage in the morning. We went to brunch and did that quickly. And then the kids wanted to do bingo. And then I took a nap out in the concierge deck for a couple hours, I think. And that was our whole day.
Do you guys go to the spa at home much?
No. My wife will occasionally. I never do. I only do it on the ship.
I guess, how does she feel with the spa at home versus on the ship?
She likes the spa on the ship better. I think just because you have such a nice view. She goes to a spa. We go to Arizona a lot. And there's a spa she really likes there, which I think she likes better. And the one in Alani, which will be out next month, she loves that spa.
I think I've heard that consistently, that people on different shows, when people are talking about the spas, that Alani gets like the top billing, and then cruise line's right in there with Grand Floridian, and then Saratoga Springs, I guess, is right up there too. So we have, my wife has only done the one on the cruise ships. We haven't done Alani yet, but I think that's in the cards eventually. So I guess, a couple good points to put out. Chris, what's the distance again if you're going to drive from Disneyland to get down to San Diego roughly?
It took us on the way down there on a Friday. It took us about an hour and 15. And then Sunday morning, I think it was under an hour.
Okay. Did you guys rent a car, or how did you?
No, we already had our car because we were at Disneyland anyway. So we had driven down to Disneyland the Thursday night, Wednesday night, did Disneyland all day Thursday, and then got up Friday and drove to the ship.
Okay. And I guess, just for everybody to know, even though you're talking San Diego and Anaheim, it isn't really that far or too hard of a thing to do to go between the two. And Christy, have either of you guys sailed out of LA at all by any chance on a cruise?
No, I have not.
I've done Long Beach about 12 years ago, and that was super easy.
Yeah, I know they redid the terminal there, so I'm not sure if Disney's looking at I'm not sure why they don't go to Long Beach. I know in the past they have. It seems like all their focus is out of San Diego. Do you guys have any idea why they haven't looked at Long Beach at all?
No, it'd be a lot more convenient, I think, if they did Long Beach.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, especially with Disneyland there. I know that they redid the terminal, or at least Carnival redid the terminal down there, and I think Norwegian or Royal, one of the two, is sailing out of there kind of consistently. Carnival's based a ship out of there, but it seems like Disney's kind of sticking it out with San Diego. So, well, cool. Anything else to talk about that too? I love the theming on Halloween. So, you guys did you guys do the Halloween party up at Disneyland too?
Yes, we did.
Okay, and I mean, what a good combination to put together. You do the Halloween party and then pop down and do the 2 days, even though it's kind of quick.
Yeah, it was a very Halloween themed weekend, and we love Halloween, and so we enjoy that. That was the main reason for doing the 2-day cruise. Like, it fits into the schedule. It's gonna be Halloween. Let's just do it. And plus, we got to see, since we were on the ship in July, we got to see a bunch of the renovation stuff they had done to the ship. So it's kind of neat to see after the dry dock.
Did anything stick out to you guys that you enjoyed with the new bar area there for Tiana's Place? I'm totally drawing a blank as what it's called, but did anything stick out that you really enjoyed?
I didn't. I can't remember the name either, but it's like, what a change! It's like that whole hallway now is so themed to Tiana's Place. It just made a huge difference. It's just really cool there now.
It's a weird question. Do you feel like more people kind of hung out there? That place kind of like, unless there's something going on there, it seems like it's kind of an afterthought. And there's just they'll always have entertainment in there. I don't know. What do you think, Christy or Chris?
There was definitely a lot more people just sitting in there enjoying it. Because you're right. Sometimes you go down there and just be a bunch of empty seats. So now every time we walk by, there's people enjoying it, taking pictures and having drinks, and it looked like it was a lot more popular.
Where did you dine on your 2-night cruise? Did you dine at Apollo, or did you dine in the dining room?
So we did the dining room one night, and then the Apollo one night, we did my wife and I. And we actually took another friend of ours on the trip. So the night the kids went to the dining room, there was another person with them.
So I guess just to finish up, would you do a 2-day cruise again, Chris?
I don't think so. It was a lot of work getting on and stuff just for 2 days, especially if I had to drive the full distance. Now, if I lived by Port Canaveral and a last minute thing, I think it'd be kind of different if I lived down by San Diego. But the plan going down that far for 2 days was kind of I was like, I think I would enjoy a 3 or 4 more day cruise better.
Well, let's turn to your next cruise, a very maritime cruise out of Port Canaveral. You guys stayed at Walt Disney World ahead of time. Let's talk a little bit about that before we talk about the cruise. How did you guys get down to California, and where did you guys stay, Chris?
We left California and went to Florida.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm like all over the place.
And we're DVC, so I had a room booked at the Grand Floridian Villas. And so it was me, my wife, our 2 kids, and we took my in-laws this time too. So we had a separate room for them. And we flew there on the Thursday night before the cruise because we spent 3 days in the parks.
Have you guys stayed at the Grand Floridian before? I know it's like one of the kind of magical resorts during Christmas time with its decorations, and they put up the gingerbread house. Can you talk a little bit about the Grand Floridian and what you guys got to see there?
Yeah, it's our favorite resort, and that's our home resort for Florida. So we stay there often. And we're super excited to see. We've seen the gingerbread house before. Last year when we had our one day on the cruise, we went to Disney World, but my wife is super excited to be able to be in the resort the whole time, go to, see the gingerbread house, see all the decorations they have. I mean, the way they transform it, it's it's really incredible. It's just puts you in the Christmas mood.
I was just going to say, Christy, you were down there at the same time. You had a chance to go over there and see it as well.
We did. I guess it was a little smaller than I thought it would be. It wasn't small by any means, but I guess I envisioned it being huge because of everybody describing, that people can walk through it. And there were people in it. They were selling gingerbread items out of the house. So people were in it, but I don't know. I guess I just imagined it bigger. But it is gorgeous. It is absolutely stunning there.
Yeah, it's a decent sized gingerbread house, but that lobby is so big that it makes, like it was probably 3 times the size of the gingerbread house on the ship, but the lobby is just so immense that it just looks small.
Yeah, that might be a good way to describe it. Did you guys have a grand villa?
My wife and me and my kids had a 2-bedroom, and then my in-laws, I ended up getting them a 1-bedroom because I did it like 9 months out, and I couldn't get a studio, so they ended up I had to burn up more points, and they got a 1-bedroom.
Okay, so then what else did you do with the rest of your time at Walt Disney World?
The first day we were there, we kind of went to several parks. The next day, we spent the whole day at Universal. And then on Sunday before the cruise, we did a VIP tour. And then we did the Christmas party that night.
Where did you guys go with the VIP tour?
Our intention was just to hit all the big rides and stuff. So it was mostly just going from ride to ride to ride. Nothing real special. Just going from, we started the day at Epcot. And then from there, we went to then we went to the studios. And the guide said there's a chance they're going to be running the new Star Wars ride. And she said, I don't know. And they're going to let us know. I went better off she didn't tell me that because it didn't happen. Because they'd been running it the previous days before, and they were letting some VIP tours go in, I think, just to have people in there to see how things were working. So we didn't get to do that. But then we went to Animal Kingdom, and we ended the day with the guide at Magic Kingdom. And then we went back like at 5 o'clock to our room, changed, freshened up a little bit, and we went to the Christmas party.
Christy, have you been to the Christmas party before? And kind of what are your guys' thoughts? Or what were your thoughts on it?
We had a blast. We love Christmas anyway. So we've been to the Halloween parties in California. We've never been to a Christmas party. So their Jungle Cruise was the Jingle Cruise, which was not as good as California used to do, but it's a lot of fun. But the standout thing was Space Mountain was Holiday Space Mountain, and they had Christmas music playing with like snowflake projections on the ceiling and like strobe lights. You could almost see the track layout in there. It was a blast. It was just a different Space Mountain, and it was just kind of hokey and fun.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about the Holiday Space Mountain.
And Christy, have you been to a Christmas party before?
I haven't. And I was so bummed that they weren't offered during any of our Thanksgiving dates. Next year, we're going to be there around the time, but it might not have started yet. So I don't know how that's going to work.
They don't offer it during the busy time. So we went on Sunday night before Thanksgiving. I think that was the last one until the next week when the crowds died down again.
Right. And I was there right in the middle with all the people.
Hey, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. They don't have a holiday or Christmas party at Disneyland, do they? They have a Halloween one, but Christmas is just Christmas at Disneyland, if I remember right.
Correct. There's no Christmas party. They just have the Halloween parties.
Okay, yeah. So overall, enjoyed the Christmas party. I've heard that about Space Mountain too. I think I love when they do the Star Wars theming of Space Mountain. So I can imagine at Christmas time it must have been really cool.
No, it was a lot of fun. I mean, our picture, we all have Santa hats on, and it was just a blast. It was just fun.
Did your in-laws join you for that day?
Yes, they did. They kept up pretty good. So, I kept, because we got to get moving. So we did pretty good.
And how did you feel about putting all of that in a day? That's a lot still.
It was a lot. We were very tired that night, but it was like, we only had so much time there, and we wanted to go to Universal to do the new ride there and see their Christmas stuff. So we kind of had to cram it in.
I guess I'd be kind of remiss because Rise of the Resistance came out. Sorry, you guys didn't get to go on it. It sounds like just an amazing ride. Did you guys go over to Galaxy's Edge? And I know you've been to the Galaxy's Edge down at Disneyland. Did you do the one over at Hollywood Studios as well?
Yes, we did. So we wanted this. I wanted to see the land, and it's pretty much a mirror image. And we did Smuggler's Run one time, and that was about it. I was kind of like, she kept checking her phone to see if we can get on Rise, and even throughout the day, she kept checking. She's like, "No, there's nothing going on right now." I was like, "Ugh."
But what's interesting is the VIP tours that started. So Rise of the Resistance opened yesterday, and those VIP tours did not have access to the ride.
That's surprising because in California, when the tours first started, you had access, but you had to go to the land, and they gave like a slip of paper, and you had to wait like an hour. And then you can go do something else and then immediately go back on it.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see because Smuggler's Run had access. Actually, the VIP guides were calling all of either the guests or the travel agents to say, if this has been booked for your clients, there will not be access. So
that's kind of a bummer.
So then the next day, I land in Florida and you leave Florida.
Well, let's turn to the cruise then.
That's what we were doing.
I know. Let's get you out of the bubble into the next bubble, Chris. How do you guys like to get over to Port Canaveral? I know you guys sailed concierge on this cruise, and so as far as your port arrival time, you guys can kind of show up whenever you want to, correct? And how do you guys like to get to Port Canaveral, and how did that work for you?
Correct. Yeah. So we were able to arrive when we wanted to, and my in-laws actually had an early port arrival time, so it worked out good. And so we used the same private car driver we've used since like 2010 there. And so I think we left the resort like at 10:30 and got there about 11:30. And we got there was no one there. And we all got registered real quick. And they were already taking people on the ship. We walked right on the ship.
Well, this is a very maritime cruise, and I'm going to have a hard time. Make sure I don't gloss over this because you guys also spend Thanksgiving on it. So make sure we hit both of the holidays here. But was there anything that you could book ahead of time as far as the very maritime activities, Chris?
No, nothing specific to very maritime. I don't remember anything.
Yeah. And then we talked pre-show for just a minute, but for our listeners, last year when you did the very maritime cruise, you were able to pre-book the gingerbread decorating, and this year it was not something that you could pre-book a time for. So I think Correct. That should just be worth noting.
Correct. It was in the Navigator, and I had it several times during the cruise, and I didn't go, but my wife and kids and in-laws went, and I think they waited like a minute or two, and they seat you at a table and bring you your stuff, and so it wasn't that bad.
And let's talk about that for a second since we're there. You were on a 4-night cruise. How many times was the gingerbread decorating offered?
It was on the Nassau day. I remember it. That's when they did it. And I remember it was on the day at sea day, too. I remember seeing it there. And I'm not sure if it was anywhere else. I don't remember, but I wasn't looking for it.
And you did it on the Nassau day?
Correct.
And you had no wait. And we had a previous guest on who did it. And I don't recall. We didn't discuss when it was offered for her, but she said there was a pretty sizable wait. I mean, it moved, but there was a wait. So it's just, everybody's experience may vary there. But if you have an opportunity to go on a Nassau day, that sounds like a good time to go.
Yeah.
And did they arrive at the beginning of the time, or did they arrive once it had already been going for a while?
I think it had been going for a while. I don't know how long, but I want to say it was like at 10 o'clock, and they probably got there like at 10:15.
So maybe that worked out. Okay.
Okay, so kind of like the Halloween on the High Seas, not too much that you can book ahead of time, but then once you get on board, there's a lot of activities that you can take part in during the cruise. So let's, I guess, turn to the cruise itself. Anything you want to talk about your stateroom this time, Chris?
We had the Roy Suite, so it's an incredible room with a huge balcony, so it's just an incredible room, especially when you have a day at sea where you could just hang out on the balcony all day.
And did they decorate it for you at all for Christmas or Thanksgiving?
No, but I had ordered through the Disney Gifts some of the Christmas blankets, and this year they offered like a topiary-looking Christmas tree, and I had ordered that to kind of just put us in the Christmas mood.
Was that something you would take with you at the end of the trip, or you leave the tree on board?
So the tree was actually like a floral gift, so you could not take it. But Michelle, one of the concierge hosts, was in our room a couple days prior fixing the coffee maker, and she commented how much she liked the tree. And I said, well, perfect. When we're done, I will bring it to you. And she was very excited to get it.
Oh, nice.
And it had little Disney ornaments and stuff on it, so she was excited to get it.
As far as concierge goes, was there a tree in the lounge?
There was a tree in the lounge, and it was also decorated in some other. There's not a whole lot of places they can decorate, but they had some like garland type stuff around. There was that pillar kind of in the middle, and they had a tree in there. So yeah, the whole ship was decorated really nice, and the lounge had decorations.
And this was a maritime cruise. Was there anything different about the concierge experience with the maritime cruise versus a standard cruise?
No, everything's exactly the same. And we've been on so many cruises now, I kind of know what the menu is every day for the sandwiches.
That's funny. Did you guys go to, so on concierge, they'll have a concierge reception 1 or 2 nights of the cruise, and one of the nights there'll be a special guest. Did you go to that event?
No, because it was Castaway Day, and it was like at 4:30 or something. And so we're just getting back on the ship or something. We've done it in the past, and they'll have like Goofy or somebody up there, but yeah, we didn't do it this time.
Did you guys have a cabana?
Yes, we did.
Do you do the family cabana with your in-laws there, or were you in the standard cabana?
We were in the family cabana. I had the hold for 4, so I had to pay for the extra 2 guests. The bigger cabana at the end of the beach, the cabanas 19, 20, and 21 are not usable right now.
Oh, they're still not usable.
No, from the hurricane. They are actually like there's 4 feet underneath them. You could just see underneath them. There's no steps. There's no sand. There's no foliage.
Was there any update from them about what's happening there?
They said they hope by January. So they got a lot of disappointed people that have those cabanas booked. They got to keep changing things around. I took a couple pictures and put on Twitter, but the pictures you couldn't tell, but they're actually not even sitting level on the sand right now. They got to come jack them up and fix the pillars underneath and stuff.
Wow.
Can you see those cabanas from the family beach?
I don't think so, because they're like behind a wall. They're off to the side.
Yeah, so it's where the island kind of curves. You can't really see them.
I can't imagine you could see it.
Okay.
And from our cabana, I had to walk down there to actually see them. From number 3, I had to walk down the beach so I could actually see them, take some pictures, because it kind of curves right there.
Is that the cabana you usually request?
Yeah, I always request 3, 4, or 5, and we've gotten 3 the last few times. Which 3 is nice because the hammock has a palm tree next to it. She has some shade. 4 doesn't have the palm tree.
You got to try going further down the island sometime. I think you might actually learn that you'll like it better.
We'll see. Whatever it is, I really don't care. It's just we've been getting those, so.
Yeah, it's still nice. It's all nice, but.
I don't like 1 or 2 because they don't face the ship. I like to be able to lay in the hammock or on our little deck and see the ship.
I agree with that completely. Try further down the beach next time.
I will give that a try. In fact, I have to send an email at 9:00 tonight for our April cruise, so maybe I'll request 8 or higher.
Now, you know, Christy, you're talking to Chris, and he's kind of set in his ways.
I'm very set in my ways.
I know.
But he has, since I've gotten to know you, Chris, you've kind of branched out. You guys went to Europe last year and have kind of been doing all kinds of different things. So maybe you'll end up further down the beach at some point.
I might. I have been trying to not be so set in my ways.
Well, let's swing back. We'll get back on the ship before we talk about a little bit more about Castaway Cay. But let's go over the holiday stuff. How was the ship decorated? Have you guys been on a very maritime cruise? And can you talk a little bit about the lobby, how it was decorated? Yeah,
so we've been on the Magic last year, and so we kind of knew what to expect. But with the Dream class, you have a bigger lobby, so it seems like the tree was probably just the same size, but they have a huge tree, but there's a lot more room in front of it on the Dream. And they're able to put the gingerbread houses off to the side, and it's a really beautiful gingerbread house. And there's just garland on all the railings going up to all the floors in the atrium. I mean, it's just really beautiful.
Do they play Christmas music then throughout the ship as you're kind of going through the days, or do they do kind of Disney music too?
No, it's Christmas music. And a lot of the cast members are wearing like a red and white scarf with like a red and white beanie. So it's, everything's really festive. All the cups on the where you get the soda and stuff, they have the very maritime cups and where the hot chocolate is at. Everything is geared towards Christmas.
Your kids are older, but did you happen to notice from what the characters were wearing, whether they did both Christmas outfits and their regular outfits?
It seemed like in the evening when I would pay it, when we were getting in line to take pictures stuff, they had Christmas outfits on.
Every night?
It seemed like it. I saw Santa, Goofy, Minnie had like a Victorian kind of Christmas outfit on, and Mickey did too. And I saw.
Did Minnie ever have her captain uniform on?
I don't know, but we weren't in the atrium every night, so I don't know. Some nights we just went straight to Powell, and so I don't know. It looked like it was mostly Christmas attire every night I would see in the Navigator and stuff.
Okay.
Well, let's just run down a couple of things, some of the events that are included. And if you guys went to any of these, feel free to jump in. But just for everybody's knowledge that has not been on a Very Merry Time Cruise, it kind of kicks off with Mickey's tree lighting ceremony down in the atrium, I believe. Did you guys see that by any chance?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
It was like at 10:30 or something. I don't know where we were at, but it was late at night. It was kind of odd. So I think with little kids would have it earlier, but it was later than I thought it would be.
That is pretty late, isn't it? Christy,
maybe I think it was. They want people to have second seating dinner and then be able to have time to get there.
Okay.
I think they've done it in the middle. Yeah, I'd be asleep.
That's what I was going to say.
Maybe it was 10 o'clock because the trouble is in the middle of the dinners there's so much all the photographers' backdrops. There's they're doing in front of the tree, they're doing in front of the gingerbread house, they're doing the staircase. Then off to the side they're doing Minnie and another character, and then up above they're doing another character.
That's some good points there. I'm trying to remember when they did the Halloween tree now that I'm thinking about it, when they did the story, if that was in between dinners or if it was after dinner. Do you remember that one, Chris? Did you guys see that?
On our Halloween, we didn't do it, but it was like 10 or 10:30 at night also.
Yeah.
I think one of my daughter and our friend that went on a cruise went to it.
Why do they hate people that go to bed early?
Well, hopefully they tape it so you can watch it in the morning on TV.
There you go. Wouldn't that be nice?
Okay, some of the other things that go on, they have Santa's Winter Wonderland Ball. Join Santa and Mrs. Claus for a grand celebration in the atrium featuring Broadway quality entertainment. Then there's a Santa Claus meet and greet, so you can go ahead and get your photos with Santa. I'm guessing your kids are probably a little bit older for that. You guys didn't do that at all, did you, Chris?
No, we saw it happen walking by one evening, but yeah, my kids are 14 and 17, so they weren't interested in doing that.
Yeah.
Was that just a regular stand in line? Do you know?
Yes.
Okay, they have Disney character greetings. We kind of talked a little bit about that. I'm guessing they were kind of, in the lobby and then all over the ship where you can catch them. And then there's the gingerbread house in the lobby. How big is that, Chris?
It's probably 12 feet wide, maybe 12 foot square and 8 foot tall, maybe. Actually, it's probably 10 foot tall.
Do they pump in the smells too? Kind of like
yes.
They do? Okay.
But we noticed this year on the Magic last year, as soon as you walked in the atrium, it's like gingerbread. This one, I don't know, because the atrium was bigger. The scent wasn't as strong.
Did you see the gingerbread house at the Wilderness Lodge?
I saw a picture of it. I wish I got to see it in person, but I didn't.
I was trying to see how big it was in comparison to that, but.
Then there is story time with Mrs. Claus, so the kids can come down to the atrium at certain times and have Mrs. Claus read some Christmas stories. There's themed activities.
Is that in the middle of the night as well?
I think that was, I remember walking by and it looked really cute because if you had little kids, people had their kids in their matching pajamas already, like ready for bed, and they're down there, sitting around. And that looked really neat. Yeah, my kids are too old for it though.
Do you recall when that would have been?
I want to say it was like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I don't.
All right, closer to being a bedtime for little tiny children.
Yeah, I don't think it was really late, but yeah, it wasn't. It's late. People have their kids ready for bed basically, and then looks like they take them, put them to bed after that.
Then there's all kinds of themed activities and crafts for kids. So probably down at the different clubs, some different things that they have going on with holiday scavenger hunts and whatnot. There's a youth party. There's always some kind of youth party going on, and then holiday merchandise. How is the stuff in the stores, Chris? Did you guys pick up anything new or interesting this year?
Yeah, we've got a couple T-shirts and sweatshirts. So in white, I think it was in Whitecaps, that one section that's like kind of a little square by itself. That was all Christmas in there. Half the store was cruise line, and half was the same stuff we saw at the parks. But it was a lot of Christmas stuff. Anything
that we missed as far as the holiday stuff that you guys did or that you remember? We talked about the cookies. Anything else besides that, Chris?
They had hot chocolate and gingerbread cookies one day. I saw they're up in the pool deck. That was about it otherwise, I think.
Did your kids go to the kids' clubs?
My son went a few times, and I'm not even sure if my daughter went, to be honest with you. I think she went once maybe. She's kind of, she's going to be 18 in a few months, so she's kind of over it at this point, I think. And we were all so tired from Disney World that the first couple of days, everyone was going to bed about 10:30 every night. Usually I have to tell the kids, wake us up, and you come back to the room. They were already going to bed when I was going to bed.
See? It's not just me, Steve.
It's not just you. No, we were the same way actually on the Halloween one. So I guess to me, the Halloween one that we did, and like kind of talking to some of the other people that have been on the Halloween cruises, it seems like it's just like that one day where they kind of do a lot of the Halloween stuff, maybe one or two. It seems to me like the Very Merry Time, it's just kind of, maybe there's not activities every single day, but it seems like it's more, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's definitely more themed. You get that more Christmas feel all the way through the cruise, where I felt like Halloween was just like that one day and then it was kind of done. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is. And they had, if you looked at the Navigator, they always had, Christmas crafts for, in the kids club, where they had it in one of the lounges for the family. They had every day there was a lot of Christmas themed things to do if you wanted to go do it.
And I guess that's what I was trying to say. You said it better than I did. As far as, I felt like the Halloween was just like 1 or 2 days worth of stuff, where it's like themed throughout the whole cruise.
But you guys didn't participate in any of the other Christmas stuff, correct?
No, I think my daughter and my mother-in-law went and did some crafts one day, maybe, but I didn't.
How about this one? Where did you guys go throughout the ship to get some pictures taken to kind of celebrate the holidays?
So we got pictures in front of the big Christmas tree and in front of the gingerbread house, one of the backdrops, I think, and then in Palo, every time we're in Palo, they came to take pictures in there too. And then my kids got pictures in the main dining room one night when we weren't with them. They're with the in-laws.
Did you get the photo package this time?
I did, and we didn't get our money's worth this time. It's just the way things kind of worked out. We didn't get as many pictures as we usually do.
So there's a couple ideas. If you're heading out on a Very Merry Time cruise, you want to make those, pictures maybe for your Christmas cards for this year if you get them out quickly when you get back, or maybe for next year, some different ideas there.
An option on the ship, and last year on the Very Merry Cruise, the last night we were in the photo place, they put this flyer up to get Christmas cards made. And I'm like, we would have done this, but it was too late on the last night. So this year I told my wife, we should get our Christmas cards made. And the one night we were all going to get pictures, the kids changed their plans or something. So we ended up not getting pictures like on the second to the last night. And then so the last night we got really cute pictures, but I think it was too late to get the Christmas cards made. And the prices weren't that bad, because I remember looking, thinking that's reasonable and what I pay anyway. So.
Do you have any tips for people that are getting the photo package to maybe get better, to make it feel more worth it? Or
I think so. If you have late dining, I think you need to get down late dining at 8:15. If you can get to the atrium at 7:15, 7:30, you can get 3 or 4 picture spots. It would be that's what we did last year on the Magic. We got a ton of pictures. This year, things kind of worked out. We're late getting the dinner one night and something going on, and we didn't take advantage of that. But you need a good hour, because some of the lines are kind of long to get, if you want to get all the spots, especially when like the Goofy and Santa Claus, he was really popular, and Minnie in her Christmas attire was really popular.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Just for the listeners too, basically, typically how Disney Cruise Line does it is they'll say that there'll be a picture with this character at 7:30, for example. At 7:45, they'll close the line. So if you want a picture with that person, you need to get in the line by 15 minutes after it starts.
I think for the characters it was like that, but for the tree and the gingerbread house, it seemed to be running just continuous. And
that
so,
makes sense for the Christmas.
And, we got the picture in front of the tree, and I told my family, I'm running over to get in the gingerbread line. You guys catch up, and I would kind of cut through and get over there before, there's so many people in the atrium, it's hard to walk through there.
Well, let's turn to dining. I know you guys went to Palo several times on this cruise. I guess a couple things to talk about Palo first, and then let's talk about Thanksgiving dinner.
So you and your wife ate at Palo quite a bit, and the kids ate in the dining room sometimes, but in the room sometimes. Is that correct?
Yeah, so they ate the main dining room with my in-laws most of the nights, but one night, since we had the Royal Suite, we had the ability to get Palo delivered to the room. We let them order Palo to the room. So my in-laws came and joined them, and they had Palo in the room, and then my wife and I went and had Palo in the restaurant that night.
And then for the listeners, just to let everybody know, basically it's those 2 large suites at the front of the ship that have that ability. Everybody else in a 1-bedroom can get room service off of the regular dining room menus delivered to their room. And then the regular family veranda cabins can just get the regular room service that is available for everybody. So that's sort of how room service with concierge works. Depends on your cabin type.
And so it's just a perk for the Royal Suite to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Well, as far as the main dining rooms go, did they do anything different theming-wise as far as Christmas, or was it just kind of the same menus?
The menus were the same. They were completely decorated for Christmas. And then, obviously, on Thanksgiving Day, it had a Thanksgiving menu in addition to the regular menu.
Well, let's talk about Thanksgiving Day then. How did that work as far as dining? Did you guys eat in the main dining rooms, or where did you guys eat?
So, yes, I had called ahead of time. So we had a dining rotation. The kids wanted to eat in the Royal Palace for Thanksgiving. They thought that'd be the most kind of, appropriate place to eat for Thanksgiving. So we had a dining rotation that ended up Royal Palace for Thanksgiving. And so it's pretty much the regular menu with an addition of a turkey dinner.
And I recall from your Twitter that you said the turkey dinner was good.
It was delicious. And it was delicious last year. I'd never had corn stuffing. It's just something I never grew up with, and they have corn stuffing. And I found out that I love corn stuffing. So dinner was really good this year and last year.
So the one controversy that a couple of people brought up was there's no pumpkin pie on the menu as far as dessert goes. Do you know why they don't serve pumpkin pie? They do a pumpkin cheesecake, I guess.
Controversy.
Yeah, I have
big controversy out there.
And pumpkin pie would be the easiest pie to make.
I have no clue, but last year we learned, it's like we got the dessert menu. I'm like, there's no pumpkin pie. And we had pumpkin cheesecake, and they had other great desserts. So this year when we were, I think it was Thanksgiving morning, we're in the lounge, and my wife's talking to Michelle, the concierge host, and Michelle was really excited for turkey dinner because she hadn't had it in a long time. And my wife goes, yeah, but there's no pumpkin pie. And she goes like, yes, there is. My wife's like, no. She goes, let me get the menu. And she's like, wow, there's no pumpkin pie. So she's like, this is not right. And she called the pastry chef and had them make a pumpkin pie that they could serve us at dinner that night.
Oh, that is awesome.
But then someone said they have pumpkin pie and Cabanos on the first day, which I never go to Cabanos on the first day. But it's like, why would they not have it at dinner then?
Yeah. So I guess for our listeners, the note is to request it. I'm celiac, so I have to eat gluten-free, and I request my food for the next day every single night of the cruise. And so that's what note I'm going to have to make for myself when I cruise over Thanksgiving, to just request a pumpkin pie for my Thanksgiving dinner. And everybody else should too. And then maybe they'll just add it to the menu.
Yeah, you would think they would have it, and they made a pumpkin pie, and it was delicious. As we're eating it, though, I see the people on the table next to us kind of looking like, thinking, how did they get pumpkin pie? I'm like, just eat it quick, let's get out of here.
I'd be like, I'm going to need to take that pie to go, please.
Before anybody catches on. Yeah. So, well, cool. Awesome Thanksgiving dinner. It's good to hear that the turkey was good, too, because we were kind of wondering how the turkey would turn out. I know Chris, our other co-host, was kind of wondering about that too. So it's good to hear that the turkey was good. Well,
it was cooked. They give you a plate with white meat, dark meat, stuffing, some vegetables, cranberry. I feel like I'm missing something else. There's cornbread, but it was delicious.
And obviously you could get something different if you didn't want to have Thanksgiving dinner, correct?
Correct. Whatever the regular menu for that rotation would be was also, all those items were there.
Where did you guys eat most of your lunches?
The first day we did the concierge lunch.
For the listeners, it's just in a dining room. They'll tell you what dining room to go to. And
correct. It's in the Royal Palace on those ships, and it's on Tiana's or Rapunzel's on the classic ships. And then the next day, my wife and I had brunch, and I know my son went to Cabanas. I don't know where anybody else went. And then the next day was Castaway. So we had cookies, barbecue. And then the last day was Thanksgiving, and the first day we're on the cruise and concierge lounge, they have those sandwiches. They have a sandwich called a muffaletta sandwich. It's like salami, prosciutto, and another type of meat. And I said, these are my favorite sandwiches. And Michelle goes, we can make it for you whenever you want. I'm like, what? And I'm like, well, make me some then. So they actually made me like 3 sandwiches, and one day my daughter and I had one, and so on Thanksgiving I was saving that last sandwich. I had it on Thanksgiving Day for my lunch, while everyone else fended for themselves.
That's funny.
I need to figure out how to get a Michelle at my house. That just,
right?
We can do that for you. How does that work? I wonder how I could get my kids to soccer practice. Oh yeah, we could do that for you. That would be awesome.
I mean, you could. People out there have that. It just you might need a different job.
that is true.
And I don't need this sandwich. I mean, it's horrible for you. It's just all, an inch thick of meat with like a olive topping stuff on it. I mean, it cannot be good for you at all, but it's delicious.
Well, let's before we talk about what Castaway Cay a little bit more. This cruise left Port Canaveral. You had a day in Nassau, Castaway Cay, a day at sea, then back to Port Canaveral. I have not done a 4-day like this. We're doing it in August, but to me, in my mind, this seems like it's the perfect short cruise out of Port Canaveral if you're on the Dream. I love the fact that you have a day at sea after Castaway Cay before you get back to Port Canaveral. What were some of the things that you guys did on board, Chris? Either you and your wife or as a family? Any entertainment things stick out?
My daughter and my in-laws went to a couple shows. My wife and I we didn't take any shows. But the first day, Nassau Day, we had a massage, and then everyone wanted to play bingo, so we played bingo. And that day kind of went by really fast. And then we had brunch on. When was brunch? Oh, brunch was actually on Thanksgiving. We had brunch on Thanksgiving. I forgot about that. So I had my sandwich later in the day on Thanksgiving. We had brunch on Thanksgiving. So the days just kind of went by really fast. I mean, even though it's a 4-night, it still went by quick.
So let's turn to Nassau. Did you guys get off at Nassau or do anything, or did you guys stay on the ship?
No, and I happened to be running on deck 4. And when I finished my run, just as they had opened to get off the ship on Nassau, and I kind of stood there and watched for a few minutes. I don't think 100 people got off in the first 10 minutes. The ship was pretty busy. I walked through the pool deck about lunchtime, and it was like, yeah, everyone stayed on the ship.
How was the weather on this cruise?
Ideal. And Castaway was the nicest weather we've had since last year at this time. I think November is the ideal Castaway weather. There's no thunderstorms coming in. It's just blue skies and sunny.
Was it cold in the morning?
No.
Cool. In Walt Disney World, it was cool because I was in Walt Disney World that same week, and it was cool every morning. But it was lovely, perfectly blue skies. But
no, the day we did the tour at Disney World on that Sunday, I was like, maybe it was 75 and sunny. It's like, it's so nice being here and not sweating. I didn't feel like I wanted to go take a shower every hour from being in the Florida heat.
Which is good because that wasn't an option.
Yeah, it was really ideal weather.
So then we talked a little bit about Castaway Cay. You guys got to Cabana. Anything else stand out as far as how you guys spent the day in Castaway Cay? We were there in October, just talking about the weather, like you said, and that's the first time we've been there where the water was warm. It was really nice to be there at that time of year. So I think you've got a sweet spot there, Chris. Either October, November, as far as a great time to be down there.
Yeah, it was great. And the only other thing, besides the Cabana, I did the 5K, and I had the new process now where you just register. I registered ahead of time on the app, and then you just walk down and meet at the start-finish line. So it was really easy instead of having to meet in one of the lounges.
Do you register during the cruise or ahead of time?
I actually did a couple weeks ahead of time. I saw on Twitter someone had done it, and I was like, oh, this is easy. So I just did it ahead of time.
Well, that's good to know. I hadn't heard that yet. Hey, do you, Christy?
I knew that you could register ahead of time. And actually, there was a travel agent that was just talking about, there's this Facebook group for Disney-related questions for travel agents. And there was one person saying there now seems to be an option where you can purchase something for Castaway Cay. And nobody understood that yet. So we don't know, because nobody actually has had a screenshot. But somebody had where you could actually do a Castaway Cay. There was still a free version, but there was one where there was something for purchase. So we're going to have to get that information and get back to you, to the listeners, when we can.
Yeah, I didn't see anything like that. I mean, this was a normal, and there was it wasn't the purchase, but when I got there in the morning, I had to sign the waiver and they gave me a bib. Some people the day before they had something in one of the lounges where you could sign the waiver and get your bib the day before. That was the only thing that was different. And then I was excited because I thought it was going to be the new route they had done a couple weeks prior, but they're back to the old route now, where you do the loop through the trees twice.
Do you know why they went to a new route and why they went to an old route?
So the new route was just to change it up so you didn't have to do the loop twice. It kind of went down to the adult cabanas and went down that area. And I asked a few people and I got different answers, but it seemed like people that rented the bikes were complaining because I guess the bikes can't go into the loop when the runners are in there. So now the runners being in the loop and all the way down at the other end too. It's kind of taking all their places away. Was basically what I was told. So they said they're working on something else, but they don't know.
I do find it interesting because we've had a couple of people, and I think it's still kind of similar. I know on the Magic, I believe it was the Magic. It was the Magic of the Wonder where people still had to meet up in the lounge and then all go out together. I find it interesting that they're doing it different on different ships because they did it the way you guys did it, Chris, when we were on the Fantasy, and that was awesome. And I didn't do it last time, so I'm not sure what the Dream did, but I thought that was awesome where you could just go down there on your own time. You don't have to meet up together in a lounge. So
I left my room at 8:40 and just walked straight to the start finish line and got there like at 5 to 9 and got my bib and it was good to go.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't all do that, and maybe eventually they all will eventually be doing it. I don't know. Have you heard anything different, Christy? I just remember one of our listeners recently talking about the fact that they still had to meet in the lounge and they were kind of bummed about that.
No. Nope, I don't know.
Anyways, it just seems like an easier way to do it. I guess, I don't know. Every ship is kind of run a little bit differently, so maybe they just haven't updated it on the older ships. Well, anything else at Castaway Cay that you want to talk about, Chris?
One problem from the hurricane too, though, also the Cabana Beach is full of sand in the water. So as soon as low tide hit, there was no water out there.
Oh.
It was they got to dredge it. And it's just, they have that area kind of roped off. At low tide, there's probably 20% water out there. I mean, you go the far into the rope and it was 6 inches of water.
Well, that's really low. But I will say that even my last time over the summer, there was not much water. So the hurricane had not been affected. Nothing
I know what
was
you mean.
affected by the hurricane, but there was still not a lot of water. But man, that sounds like there's no water to go in.
Yeah,
in that other water.
In April, we're there. You're right. Low tide. When it was low tide, a lot of wasn't a whole lot of water. It's a lot worse now.
Wow.
There's like all of a sudden an island appeared out there when low tide started happening. There was an island, and then it got lower, and pretty soon it was just the water was past the island.
Well, you guys have a day at sea, the last day, and that was Thanksgiving. We kind of talked about that. I'm not sure if there's anything else we could touch on. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about as far as the very maritime stuff that we haven't talked about, Chris?
They're just a lot of fun. If you have little kids, I think, and you're thinking about going, I would just definitely do it. It's a lot of fun. It's just puts you in the Christmas. We got back, and we're in full Christmas mood. It's like it was just so fun.
Were you guys feeling the same way when you got back from your trip, Christy?
Absolutely. Walt Disney World is just so... The Disney company really knows how to do Christmas.
We did that like 3 years in a row where we went down to Disneyland at Christmas time, and we haven't done it for a couple, and it for the same reason, just to kind of put us in the Christmas mood there at the beginning of December, and we totally miss it. So I'm kind of jealous in a good way that you guys did this, and what a great way to kick it off. I guess the question I have for you, Chris, as we kind of finish up here is, you've been on so many different cruises. What are some of the favorite things? What are some, instead of tips, I guess, necessarily, what are some of the favorite things that you look forward to when you go back on the cruise ships each time? What are the things that you want to get back and do?
I just always enjoy the time just to relax. I enjoy sitting out on a balcony after a day at Castaway or wherever we've been for a port and just sitting out there looking at the ocean, just relaxing. That's just one of my favorite things.
I think we can all agree to that. Right, Christy?
Absolutely. Especially with, busy lives and all of that, to just be able to unplug because the internet is tough, at least unplug a little bit and just relax. It is so nice.
Our whole family gets dressed up for dinner every night, so we always get dressed up. I enjoy having a nice dinner. It's just spend time with your family. It's just at home, my daughter's going away to college. She's busy doing stuff all the time. My son's in freshman in high school. So for us to have time just as a family to enjoy it while we still can.
Yeah, you're going to find out, Christy, as Blake gets bigger, it's just amazing how busy your lives get, where everybody's going different ways. And it's crazy. Like a week will go by and you're like, where did the week go by? I mean, where did that time go? And then also, like, we didn't spend any time together. So, yeah, this is, like what you're saying, Chris. I know you've taken a lot of vacations here, coming up for your daughter going to college to kind of have that quality time with your kids. If you can do that, it's just a great thing to do.
Yeah, this has been quite a journey, a year for us. We did 5 cruises this year, just anticipating, and my daughter's going to be gone next year. So we kind of crammed a lot in this year.
Christy, any final questions before we finish up?
Just what's next for you?
We are going to Aulani for New Year's. My wife and I, that's our Christmas present to each other. We don't buy any presents. We just do that. We're DVC members there too. So I save my airline points for get our free flights, and we use our DVC for Aulani. And then after that, my wife and I are doing the Wonder out of New Orleans on a 4-night cruise. And then the family is doing a Western Caribbean in April. And then we'll be on the Greek Isle cruise in June. So we have actually a somewhat busy year this year, too, but not as busy as what we just did in the past.
Where did the kids go when you guys go on your trips by yourselves?
So the last time we were gone for 3 days, we left my daughter in charge, and so they stayed home alone.
And the house stayed there.
The house didn't burn down. I think one of my daughter's friends will come stay because they get a little scared. But yeah, so we're finally at the point where we could leave them home alone. But now my daughter's going away to college, so otherwise we'll go to my grandparents. I mean, their grandparents.
When you guys go to New Orleans, Chris, are you going to spend some time in the city beforehand?
So yes, we're arriving on 3 nights ahead of time, so we spend a couple days there.
Go to Commander's Palace for brunch. I went. It was a very memorable meal, and actually, we tried to go. My husband and I wanted to get there the last time. We just were not in that city long enough to make it happen. I would recommend it. And I guess I'm curious because I went in 2002 or 2001, but it was one of the most memorable meals of my life. And so I'm curious to know if it's still that way.
I will definitely look into that.
Well, when you get back from that cruise, we'll talk to you before that cruise, I know, but when you get back from that cruise, we'd love to have you come on and talk about New Orleans, your experience there and sailing out of New Orleans on the Disney Wonder.
That sounds like a good plan.
Well, as we kind of finish up, thanks again, Chris. I really appreciate all the time that you take to be part of our show. And thanks so much for helping us out with a very merry time. Biting a bullet and going on a cruise for us so you can let the listeners know.
It's a tough job, but I can get it done.
Yeah, spending 4 days in the Roy Disney Suite is a rough deal to do, but no, in all honesty, thank you so much, and we want to wish you and your family just all the best during the holiday season. Have a great Christmas and have a wonderful time over in Aulani and New Year's.
Thank you to you guys too. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on your show so often.
Definitely. Thank you. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Take care, Chris. Bye.
Thank you.
Well, that's going to wrap up our show today. Once again, I really want to thank Chris for coming back on and sharing his and his family's experiences as they sailed on that 2-day cruise out of San Diego on the beautiful Disney Wonder, and then the very merry time cruise out of Port Canaveral over Thanksgiving on the Disney Dream. And it's just, we really do appreciate every time Chris comes on and shares his and his family's experiences. It's always fun to talk to him. And as we move on into the holiday season, I cannot believe it as I'm recording this. There are 14 days left until Christmas. It's just going by fast. We've got 2 more for sure, very merry time cruises that we're going to get out between now and the holidays, but we want to wish you and your families just all the best during this holiday season as you're spending time together and get away from a little bit of the madness and enjoy yourself as well. Well, between now and our next show, if you would like to get a hold of us and possibly come on as well, you can reach out to me, Steve, at dclpodcast.com. Drop me an email, and we will make a time to get you on and share your and your family's experiences as you sail with Disney Cruise Line or travel on that Adventures by Disney trip as well. If you'd like to support our show, you can always do so through our Patreon program. Go ahead to patreon.com/DCLpodcast, and you can find out all the information there. So between now and our next show, if you and your family are heading out on your next vacation, all of us here at the DCL Podcast would like to wish you fair winds and safe travels as you head out on that next adventure. Once again, thanks for coming back and taking a listen, and we'll see you next time on the DCL Podcast.